How's it going, everybody? I am Donut. This is, of course, a Black Lives Matter, All Cops Are Bastards, and trans rights supporting channel. I am here with my fiance.
It's me, Thermites.
Hey, I don't know. I never know if I'm pointing to the right direction. I don't know where you're going to be in this video, so I'm just pointing in random directions. We are
We'll fix it
watching
in post.
WandaVision, Season 1, Episode 4. We interrupt this program.
Oh boy.
My prediction for that title is that we're going to get a lot of stuff outside of the whatever the fuck it is, outside of the program, you know?
Yeah. Like, I think this whole episode might be not in WandaVision. Because
Yeah.
because we ended last episode with the big, being spat out and seeing what it's like physically outside.
I normally I would be like, I don't know how well I would, how entertaining it would be for this whole episode to be outside of the program, but these aren't like 40-minute episodes, which is what I'm used to, so they could do it. It wouldn't be that. It's like
Yeah.
30 minutes, It's,
Yeah.
it's fillable.
Again, yeah, very, very happy. I mean, Netflix doesn't have this problem in theory. Like, they can do episodes however long they want, but so many of the Netflix shows are like, no, we do have to hit 45 or 48 or whatever at minimum, even if we
Yeah.
do not have contents for that.
Yeah, I really appreciate that these episodes fluctuate and stuff like that. I really wish more stuff did that. I mean, and even then, they don't fluctuate that much. They are very much so. I think, like, they said this show was going to be between 30 to 40 minutes, and most of the episodes have been under 30 minutes.
Yeah, like, what I saw was 30 to 50, and I imagine, like, maybe just the finale is going to be 50 or something.
Yeah, but it's interesting they said 30 to 50.
Yeah.
But the vast majority have been under 30. But anyway, so yeah, I do think that it could be all outside the program for this episode. It's not that long.
Yeah. Because the only other thing I could think of would be, like, if we cut to a different show, like if there's someone else also in here, like with their own different TV show, but and that's possible, but I have very little faith in that. I think, yeah, it makes the most sense just to see what Sword is doing and what like all the outside people are doing.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we're gonna get a commercial?
Ah, I I think yes, but it's going to be like the people outside watching the commercial. Like,
Okay. I'm
yeah,
also
like,
I'm gonna guess that we're gonna start inside the program and it will be interrupted.
okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I don't know how we would transition. Whereas I think it would make a lot more sense to just start where we ended last episode. But I'm gonna guess, for the sake of having our guesses be different, that we're gonna start in the program and be interrupted. And your guess is that it's gonna be all outside the program, right?
Yes.
All right. Solid guesses. Do you want to talk a
Okay.
little bit before we get into the episode? I know you had some, like, after episode, you were like, oh, big brain blast.
Yeah, there's one thing I want to clarify for people watching the reaction, so it'll just be like a minute.
Headphones out.
Okay, so the big thing that I probably should have said at the end of last episode is, like, now that we have the twins, I know about the existence of the twins. And I did remember after the reaction, like, oh, right, that was also with Wanda and Vision living together. Like, that is probably what this whole series is based on. And I have not read that run in the slightest. Obviously, I'm not gonna look into it or anything. Like, what I know is, at some point, Wanda had two, twins. They were not real in some way, and they died, and then they got reincarnated, and one of them is Wiccan from the Young Avengers, and the other one is also in the Young Avengers, but they're the one I don't remember. Like, I know a lot about Wiccan and Hulkling, because I ship them, and they're good, but there's another one that is the other one. Yeah, anyways, that's not a big brain blast or anything. I just wanted to say that because I imagine that would color the reaction, and I don't want anyone to go like, oh, he knows about this, all this stuff from the comics. But no, I don't. I genuinely have zero idea. Like, last episode, I was just talking about the fucking Vision 2015 series, which, might lead into this, but I assume most of this is literally when Wanda and Vision were together and they had a family and all that stuff in the 90s. Okay, I'm gonna go grab Donut now.
Okay. Back. Let's get in the actual episode. If you want to get full
Yes,
length,
please.
check it out in the Patreon below for $4 a month. If you want to get multiple episodes ahead, you can go check that out as well. Let's get into this episode. Okay, where do we start with this episode? Like, one, yeah, you want to talk about the whole, like, stuff that you were about to say with the Reality Stone thing before the episode ended?
Yeah, just like, this is, we already said this is the kind of stuff we've wanted in the MCU this whole time, and just like, on top of that, this is the stuff I really wanted from the Reality Stone, which we couldn't do because that's just not what the MCU was allowing itself to do for Infinity War and Endgame and, I mean, Dark Worlds.
Yeah.
It was so, like, restrained, whereas this is the most, like, it's a full episode of let's go over the past 3 episodes and just show how completely bonkers it is to, treat this like a realistic thing while still treating it like a realistic thing.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's just to go more into what you said. Like, yeah, honestly, this episode of WandaVision is better than anything I've seen in the MCU up to this point. Just because it actually feels like a universe. It feels like, and the vibe of, like, the mystery behind everything and treating the situations with, the realism that they deserve and that is so different than, like, everything else in the MCU, which is this, like, all of it feels like I am watching just a superhero movie or a superhero TV show that is extremely embarrassed that it's a part of a universe. Like, I feel like that is the best way I could describe the MCU up till this point. It's just like, it's always felt like it is unbelievably embarrassed about being a part of a universe, and there's this vibe in every MCU movie of shame.
Yeah, honestly, I would agree.
And, like, it's so hard to get into a whole universe when the universe is ashamed of itself.
Yeah, where a lot of the background references are more of a, like, haha, we're doing a reference, as opposed to, this is just the world. Like, of course these characters are going to be here because they live in this world too. Or, this person isn't here because, again, they're doing something else. Like, that's not a vibe I get in a lot of series. Whereas, like, seeing Darcy and seeing Agent Wu again was so, like, yeah, I fully buy that they're here and their personalities make sense here, and it's all just, it just feels natural. It just
Monica
feels like
as well.
Yeah. God, I cannot believe, like,
it's nuts.
It's messing me up so much because I look at her and I just see the little girl from Captain Marvel, and it's like, God damn it, she grew up so much.
Yeah, and not even as much as she should have because she got fucking snapped.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's so much time has passed.
Yeah.
But that's how you make a universe feel like a full universe. I mean, that was a crazy reveal to where I kept, like, as it happened, it was like, wow. And then as we kept going through the scene, I kept having to go, like, this is Monica, this is Monica.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't want to buy it because it's so different. But, again, that's what makes it so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I was not sure. I just really quickly, I wasn't sure how interesting this episode was going to be. If it was going to be, the whole episode was outside the program, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be interesting. But man, to be the best thing I've seen in the MCU to date.
Yeah, I was hoping it was going to be good, but it completely blew me out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, I think starting off with, seeing Monica being unsnapped is, like, legitimately a really good commentary on what the episode is going to be. Like, that is we know this event happened, but we're not really dealing with the consequences in any real way, up until this point. And this is this is what it's from the perspective of someone who got snapped and who, just, is in a normal situation, who isn't a superhero, who isn't, going to the Battle of Earth.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of huge reveals on Maria as well.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, we got so much of, like, what has been happening since the snap and stuff like that. Like, still not as much as I want. I mean, the amount that I want is infinite. Like, they cannot touch on it enough for me to be satisfied. It's impossible. Because it's relevant to, again, every single character, so.
Yeah, it is something that happened in the world that genuinely affects everyone. It is the most, like, even if you are a character in the MCU 20 years from now, and you were not born during the snap, like, the effects of, being in the post-snap generation are still going to be notable. Like, it
I
will
mean, yeah.
never stop being important.
I mean, that's gonna be crazy as well. Yeah, I mean, the amount of people that will grow up having not been alive when the snap happened is also insane. Because then, assumingly, I mean, it would have had to have changed the world in crazy, crazy ways that they still
Yeah.
are not really getting into at all, other than military stuff. Like, it really feels like the only thing that's changed is military stuff.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And even then, barely has affected it.
In hindsight, like, I think this is honestly going to be really great if the MCU, wants to do any, like, like, post-COVID stuff, in the sense that, like, COVID has changed the world irreparably. And I think the snap would be a really good, like, this is also a thing that happens that affects the entire world that will, change everything going forward forever.
Yeah.
Like, there are very few other, like,
I think
things
the main thing that makes it different, though, is that they all come back.
Yeah.
Like, that's the craziest part. Like, everybody getting snapped could make the world not change that much. Like, it would drastically change a lot of it, but I feel like it could also very easily make stuff go very, like, just a lot of shit would shut down, but other stuff would just continue on. Versus everybody coming back is insane, and there's an endless number of possibilities of how that would change the world.
Yeah.
Especially because at that point, the world would have gotten used to having lower resources.
Yeah, and, like, the fact that it happens so close to itself, like, it's only 5 years, and, like, that's an enormous amount of time. But, like, that is still, like, people are all coming back in the wake of the world still being all fucked up from everyone not being there.
And everybody comes back not knowing why the fuck anybody's coming back.
Yeah.
Like, nobody knew there was a big battle with Thanos going on, and they got the glove and all this shit. I'm surprised anybody knows that Vision's dead.
Yeah.
Like, that was honestly a huge reveal as well, because, like, I would have assumed that the world would still think that Vision is, alive.
Well, I mean, I can get that because this is, like, SWORD. Like, this is the military. Like, they would know.
Sure,
Avengers
yeah,
stuff.
actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like, people on the street aren't presumably talking about that.
Yeah. I mean, they might, I don't, because we never see the press conferences, so we don't know, what the fuck the Avengers tell the world. We don't really know what the world even knows about the Avengers. Like, it's crazy that we're this far in, and I still am unclear how much the world knows about the Avengers, or even, like, just what do they know? What do they think the Avengers is?
Yeah, like, I remember when Civil War was coming out, people being surprised at the whole, like, oh yeah, I guess, the Avengers are just being paid by a billionaire to fly around the world and, enact whatever justice they see fit. Like, they're not working for the government, they're not working for anyone, they're not military. Like, the Civil War is the movie that reveals that.
Yeah.
Whereas up to that point, a lot of people were just like, we don't really know what the deal is, but, they might be this, they might be that. And, like, we're so far in, and it's still a lot of, like, they might be this, they might be that.
Yeah, it's still unclear. I mean, it's still unclear what an Avenger is. We've had so many arguments over what is an Avenger. I mean, it used to be a lot clearer, whereas now I don't know, is everybody a Carmitage an Avenger? They came when he said Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. But I mean, they were already there when he said Avengers Assemble. Like, at that point, it was too late for them to then say, wait, but I'm not an Avenger, though.
Let me leave, hold on.
I want to disassemble.
But, okay, getting back to this episode.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about a whole episode. I loved how, again, we have gotten 3 whole episodes of this, and we are still as in the dark as all of them were. Like,
yeah.
I don't think there's anything that we knew that they didn't know by, like, the beginning of the episode. Like, once they set up their whole, like, barricade around the place, from that point on, I'm pretty sure we have basically the exact same amount of information that they do.
Yeah.
I think the only other information we had is that Geraldine is in, or I keep saying Geraldine when I'm referring to Monica in the thing, but that Monica is in there and she is disguising herself. But even then, we didn't know that was Monica until this episode, so.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't know that she was disguising herself. We didn't know how much she knew. We still don't really know how much, like, did she have an awakening in there at some point, or was she always aware of what was going on?
Yeah. Like, yeah, we don't know what happened to Franklin, the Beeb guy.
Yeah.
I can't believe, by the way, at the beginning of the episode, I thought Monica was turning from bees into a person.
That was very different if you accepted that all of that was just, oh, I guess they're bees? I guess that was the snap?
Everybody was bees, and then they turned back into humans. Oh my god. But yeah, we don't know what happened to Franklin at all. Like, we have no idea what happened there. That was also like as we're watching the episode from Wanda's perspective, it was like there was just a rewind. So, what the fuck happened? And the episode just ends there. The episode doesn't, continue on to, like, anything, so.
No. Yeah, we have like 10 more seconds of what happens in Westview. Which I do appreciate, though. Like, I'm glad that this whole episode was, like, part of it was pre the situation, and then the rest of it was just, we're going to go over just what happened in those 3 episodes.
Yeah. It is so fascinating to me that it was not a drone that was turned into a toy helicopter, but that SWORD has already been making drones into toy helicopters, and then it just became more toy.
Yeah. Boy, So, talking about SWORD...
Yeah?
I mean, I'll say this now because it seems like it's also true in universe. Like, they went by it very, very fast. But, like, in the comics, the SWORD does, like, space missions.
Okay.
And, yeah. And, like, they definitely talk about that, like, with Monica being grounded. She can't go back into space. She can't do any missions like that.
Yeah, I got that idea that it was a very, like, cosmic sort of organization.
Yeah.
But it is definitely S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, I don't know how many people in SWORD are from S.H.I.E.L.D., but it is interesting that, like, they do it in the exact same way that S.H.I.E.L.D. does it.
Yeah.
Like, with, like, director and all that shit. Like, the structure of the organization is exactly the same as S.H.I.E.L.D.'s, which is, makes me go, I don't trust this organization one fucking bit.
Yeah, I'm hoping they're entirely separate.
I mean, I don't see how they could possibly be separate when their name is SWORD and the other one is S.H.I.E.L.D. They're both acronyms and they both have the exact same structure.
I mean, that's just governments.
No, it's not. Name a government thing like that. Name two government things that are like that.
I mean, the FBI also has directors.
I mean, okay, well, the structure, sure. But, like, it's definitely a play on S.H.I.E.L.D. SWORD is definitely a play on S.H.I.E.L.D.
I mean, yeah,
I can't think of any real-life government that does that. And they're just like, no, we're just coincidentally also named the opposite of that thing.
Fair enough.
Don't think about it, guys.
And it does seem like they changed the acronym to, be Sentient Weapon Observation Response Division. Like, they have swiveled from space to sentient weapons. Which...
Oh, man.
Very curious about what that means. Like, clearly they're being tapped into this because of Vision, who is a sentient weapon.
Yeah.
But, like, we haven't seen, like... Clearly they're making sentient weapons, but we haven't seen any of those. Like, the closest we've gotten to is, the drone. Which is, not sentient, but, it is a weapon that can presumably do stuff by itself.
And yet, knowing that, like, Maria founded this group from the beginning, like, doesn't tell me anything. Like, I don't really know anything about Maria, so, it doesn't really, like, I think really all I know about her is she's Captain Marvel's friend.
Yeah. Like, in terms of timeline, like, Captain Marvel took place in the 90s, and she didn't seem like she was the head of SWORD there, so, like, at the very least, that means that it's been, it is a, like, 90s, 2000s founded organization, as opposed to, like, something like S.H.I.E.L.D., which is super duper old.
Yeah. And it can't be something like, well, she was able to found it because Captain Marvel was, like, there to help her, and, like, well, if we have this, the strongest person we know of as, like, an ally in space, it would make sense for us to have, like, a space organization where I am friends with the, most powerful alien that we know. Like, that all makes sense and tracks, but that couldn't have been how it happened because, like, before she had founded S.H.I.E.L.D., before she had founded SWORD, Captain Marvel would have been gone into space for decades.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and she wouldn't have been able to help after that point because she doesn't seem to have been in contact with Earth until, the snap when she gets called back.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does this mean? Does this mean that, in Far From Home, we see Fury, with the Skrulls on a giant spaceship? Like, is that a sword thing, or is he just separately working with the Skrulls?
That would make sense that is a sword thing, but at the same time, it doesn't seem like they have actually had any contact with aliens or anything in space.
No.
Like the way they talk about it all sounds very, hypothetical.
Yeah. I'm very curious as to what these space missions were. Is it just, normal astronaut stuff, or is it something else?
And it also already feels like do we need this? This feels a little bit redundant. We already have Captain Marvel. We already have the Guardians of the Galaxy, which has Thor with them. I don't think we need this program.
I mean, I'll push back on that because Captain Marvel does not seem to do anything involving Earth, and the Guardians are, the Guardians of the Galaxy. We need someone on Earth who is, looking out, looking at space at the very least to be like, hey, something's about to happen. I don't know if we need a whole, I don't know if we need an entire government thing for it, but I will say, we need something.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we don't have any character that's doing that.
Yeah.
Because even, Doctor Strange wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, most of the characters that aren't space people are focused entirely on Earth, and the space people are, doing all sorts of crazy shenanigans.
Though I feel like they would definitely... I guess Captain Marvel was not protecting Earth at all, to be fair, so...
No.
I guess fair enough. She said, fuck Earth, I don't give a shit.
She likes the Skrulls. The Skrulls worship her as a god. Do not invoke her name.
So, yeah, I guess we do need something like this, but again, I'm not sure how... I don't know, nothing seemed like it was going to help that much. I need to get something where it's okay, we're doing this, and this is going to help. As opposed to, we're just kind of an organization that is wasting taxpayer money, but I don't see how there's any, we gotta see something that can help, Just that.
Yeah.
We gotta see something that can help.
Yeah, the baseline I'm judging them on is what happens constantly in the comics, which is random group of aliens flies down to Earth in a spaceship and then fucks with everyone for a week or so. If Sword can stop that, or if Sword can help the world be more prepared for a random single group of aliens comes to Earth and fucks around with some people, then I think they're valid. Until we see that, though, I will say, I'm very suspicious.
I want to circle back around to this at the end. I feel like we're going to get too sidetracked if I bring this up right now. But I do want to think about, if you were in Sword, what would you pitch? As a way to stop alien attacks and stuff.
Okay.
But we'll circle back at that at the end. Yeah.
Because, the other thing that's concerning is that, again, they have pivoted from space to sentient weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So, how did they make that jump?
And why make that jump?
Yeah.
Do we need sentient weapons? I really don't think so.
Yeah. I would rather have them just with, pointed at the sky trying to see if there's UFOs, rather than, let's make a sentient weapon, and then it might help.
And then, oops, whoopsie, we made Ultron 2.
I mean, yeah, that's literally just Ultron, but done with more people instead of one guy.
And done with intent. It is done with intent to make an Ultron.
Yeah.
At least Ultron was an accident.
Oh, boy. And yeah, I'm very concerned with the idea of them making an Ultron when there is no Vision to fight him.
Yeah, that is a great point. And it is all essentially again, they're keeping all this very, very secretive. They bring everybody here in a blacked out box truck where they're, just in the back and they can't see where they're going.
Yeah, and I think it is very telling that what they were being asked for in this one, at the start of this episode was, hey, you guys have imaging drones. Can we borrow a drone? Sword's big contribution is, you guys have pretty good drones. but not. But at the same time, like they sent a human being down through the sewers instead of a walkie robot or something. Like that was well, we can't fly a drone through the sewer. We need to send a human being, even though we are the sentient weapons division.
Yeah. Oh, so bad. How do you fuck that up so much? Yeah, their headquarters is also really interesting looking. Like, just the fact that it's so isolated.
Yeah.
Like, it's much different than S.H.I.E.L.D.'s headquarters just being in the middle of fucking New York.
Yeah, like, I wonder if they're doing launches and stuff here. Or if it is we're doing some stuff that might be bad, and so if something goes wrong, we can just blow this whole place up.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It's also in, like, wetlands. I don't know if that's important to what they do at all, but, like, having a huge military base on wetlands, I don't know why that feels weird to me.
It does feel really weird. Yeah, because, like, it definitely looks like they had to, like, artificially build up the whole area they're using right now.
Now, Westview, let's go into this. Westview is a real place that did exist.
Yes.
Did people live there? And what happened to those people? Were the people that lived there the people who are the actors or not? Because we didn't, I'm not sure if we know where any of the actors are from. We just got, their names.
We know that the person that, the person that Jimmy had, that he was, the reason why this all started, or, the reason why the FBI was looking into this, that person at the very least lived in Westview.
Right, okay. That's a good point. But, did they see him on the TV? I feel like we would have gotten the, oh, that's my guy.
I don't know if they did.
Because that's what I'm saying. Are they put in, a pocket dimension, or are the people of Westview the people who are in the show? Right? Because, again, Westview is a real place. It definitely does exist. And then Wanda has done something to where now nobody thinks it exists. Even if they look at a sign that says Westview, they're going to be like, that place doesn't exist. That's, I'd be interested if they did, say to the sheriffs out there, what is up with that sign then? What would they say about that? Would they say there's no sign? Would they say, that town doesn't exist? What would they say? Because, the reason I was just bringing this up is because, there is, an exit ramp for Westview. So it's not like this place was created wholesale. I mean, and, they do live in Eastview, but there's no Westview to them.
Yeah. And, when Jimmy's talking about his witness, he specifically, he calls their associates, their relatives, anyone who would know that person specifically, and they all have that selective amnesia.
So, yeah, I think it has to be the town and the people. But again, is it the actors or not? It could still be the actors also have...
I don't know why it wouldn't be the people who live in the town. Because, that makes sense with the situation of, everyone in the town has now had this thing happen to all of their, associates and relatives where, those people don't think those people exist, so it's fine, they're not going to ask any questions. But anyone who's just driving down the road who looks at Westview can clearly recognize it. I don't see any value in this third step of different people who don't live in Westview being brought into Westview.
My only reason for that is that I feel like we would have gotten that's my guy, that's the person I was looking for from Jimmy.
I do agree that is strange that they didn't do that.
But, I mean, maybe it's because they want to just say the reveal of the people in the town are the people in the town. But, is that going to be a reveal? The people in the town are the people in the town? Why would you say that for a reveal? Why wouldn't you just do it in this episode?
Yeah. Because they know who everyone is. They have, license plates, and they have, people's driving, what are those called again? Driver's licenses. Yeah, they're, pinning up to the board in order to figure out, who is playing who.
Yeah.
So. My view is that I think they're just, they're just leaving it as you would assume that these are the people of Westview.
Okay. I'm going to go with I don't think they are. I feel like we're going out on a limb here, and I feel like I'm going to be very wrong, but I'm still going to stick with it and say that these are not the people.
I respect it.
And okay, so everybody that they're putting up on the wall, that they are getting the, driver's license from, and they're, all the people are from New Jersey. So, I think I'm wrong. I think these are all from the town. I just think it's interesting why Jimmy's guy either isn't among them, or he just didn't, mention it.
Yeah. Because the other big thing is that, they're seeing Agnes constantly, but they haven't brought her up at all as who is this?
Yeah.
Which I think is still fine. Like, if they're still going, like, well, this is probably a person. We just can't find their records.
And they have her up on the wall. They just don't have a person for her.
Yeah.
Which is also interesting. Like, it's not like they're just, like, overlooking it or something. Like, they do have her thing up on the wall like everybody else's. She's just the only one without a driver's license to go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very, very telling that she has got a big part of this, but in what way? Like,
yeah.
I was thinking, like, Agnes has to be the one behind all of this, but then right at the end of the episode, it's like, okay, well, no, it's definitely Wanda.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've always been reading Wanda this time as, like, being trapped in here, but liking it. But no, I think it's definitely that she is, causing it all.
Yeah, like, she's actively doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I could see Agnes as being a, like she is Wanda. Like Wanda has put another person into place to be the, like, the helper person. And so, like, I'm saying that because I could see an ending to the series where it is Wanda has now decided that she wants to leave on some level, but then Agnes is the part of her saying, no, don't. Vision will die. Your children aren't going to be able to survive out there. There's nothing good for you in here. You should stay here. Like,
No, I'm gonna guess that she's just a crazy magic lady.
Never a bad guess.
Like, that's the only thing I can think is just that she's someone that the world doesn't know about because she's been very, very secretive, and she found out about this, or she just happened to be in Westview at the time and got trapped in this. But I think she purposely found her way into this now.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think she is just like, again, she's dressed like a witch and everything like that. I think she is just like a witch. Like, she is the what you think of when you think of a witch. Like, she was a woman who was living by herself in a small cottage in the middle of nowhere doing some magic to either help herself or help other people or whatever, but she was keeping very, very secretive, and yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah. Because, like, I think either way, this is definitely going to be the series that firmly establishes, hey, you know what's going on with Wanda? It is magic. We didn't want to say it at first because we were early MCU, but now it's the late MCU. Now we're willing to just straight up say it's magic.
Yeah, I mean, half this shit doesn't even feel like magic, it just feels like straight up reality manipulation.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I think Wanda's before seemed a lot more like magic, whereas now I'd be hesitant to say that her power is magic, whereas it feels way more like it is reality bending. Which is magic, but...
Yeah.
It's not the kind of magic you think of, which is when I think of magic, I think of what you did before, which is just like, yeah, energy blast!
Yeah, I think they're definitely going to have to interrogate what magic is. Because on some level it has to be reality stuff. But, like, we know there are systems to it. We know that, you can write it down in a book and then read the book and then, figure that out. We know it's not all red, which is, the reality color.
Yeah.
Like,
like,
it can be a variety of colors.
If they go into it, I mean, I feel like we already have magic explained very well with the Doctor Strange sort of stuff, right? So,
Yeah.
like, I'm not sure if we need magic to be that well explained, because I would be very surprised if they do a Wanda is magic sort of thing. Because, like, we already have a concrete explanation for what her powers are. They are the Mind Stone. Like, I don't know, not sure how much more you can get, or not the Mind Stone, the Reality Stone, right?
Well, no, it is
Or
the
no,
Mind
it was
Stone.
the Mind Stone. It was the Mind Stone.
Yeah, like, her color, like,
Her color is red.
like... Yeah, like, her color is red and Pietro's is blue, and that does line up with, red being reality and blue being space.
Yeah.
But they both did get it from the Mind Stone.
Mind Stone. Yeah, I said that, and then I was like, wait, well, that can't be true because her color is red. Was it the Reality Stone? That wouldn't make any sense. No, it was the Mind Stone. But
yeah, like, that's the kind of thing where, like, I don't think we need an explanation, but I do think, like, if we're going to move forward, I think they do have, they're probably going to state specifically, like, you probably already sussed this out, but this is why she has reality powers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how that would work in any way, but yeah, either way, she definitely has her powers from the stone. So I'm not sure if they would do a, like, oh, actually, it's magic. Especially because it lines up so well with the Reality Stone. Like, it's, it is reality bending.
Yeah.
I mean, also, I'm just loving getting to see what Wanda can do with her powers throughout the season. That's also just been, fascinating. Like, she can rewind time. Like,
Yeah.
the fact that she can just, with her powers, do something that Doctor Strange has to have a whole ass amulet for and still refuses to do. But she can just, snap her fingers and do it and no repercussions. I mean, there's no repercussions for Doctor Strange turning time back either, but we just say there is.
Yeah. And to be fair, we still do not know if that was reversing time or if that is, like, time is moving forward, but everything in Westview is moving backwards.
Yeah, I mean, would that not still be reversing time, just in a very selective reverse? That's even more impressive.
I mean, I think it's very impressive, but what I'm saying is, like, it's the difference between you reversing time and then you walk backwards versus you just make everyone in Westview walk backwards and go back to where they were before.
Right. Like, I guess, what is the difference between Wanda reversing time on the chicken and Doctor Strange reversing time on the apple?
I would say it depends on whether, like, is she actually making the chicken go backwards, or is she just, like, taking all of the atoms and molecules in the chicken and turning it into an egg? Like,
I mean, she also does this straight up rewind stuff as well. But and you saying, like, well, we don't know if, like, I guess, what is the difference between Doctor Strange rewinding an apple and her rewinding just Westview? Like, both are rewinding a specific thing in time.
Yeah. Well, what I guess I'm saying is that I think there's a fundamental difference between, like, rewinding the apple and then, like, making the apple move forward and so it rots really fast versus, like, blasting radiation at the apple to destroy it faster. Like, you can end up with the exact same visual effects, but I don't think, one can be, like, literally reversing time and the other one can be just, like, moving around physical stuff to give the illusion of it's changing in time.
Okay. So you think, like, when Wanda was reversing time, she is just, like, moving things.
Yeah.
In a reversing way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she could just reverse time. I feel like that's much easier. So what's the difference? Like, there is a, difference in writing, but in practice, what is the difference?
I would say in practice the difference would be that I don't think she can rewind time. Like, she literally cannot do that. But whatever she is doing here, like, obeys sitcom rules. And so I think she could easily go, like, if I were watching a sitcom, I can press a button and make it go backwards. But I think she's not doing that by literally making time go backwards, but just by rewriting reality.
Right. I'm saying, like, in practice, how is that different than, something Doctor Strange could do? Like, what can Doctor Strange do with reversing time that she can't do with reversing time? Or that she can't do with making it seem like it's reversing time?
I would say, like, fundamentally, there's no difference. The difference is, like, there are things that then she can choose to do that Doctor Strange cannot do.
Okay. Well, that's what I was getting at. Like, in practice, her abilities let her rewind time. If it's actually rewinding time or not, it's maybe not. But the effect of it, the outcome of it, is exactly the same as if she did rewind time.
Yeah. Like, I would say the reason why I'm interrogating this so much is that, like, with the apple thing, Doctor Strange can, have the full apple, then 2 bites are taken out of it, and then it rots. Whereas Wanda could do exactly that, or she could also just have the whole apple rot. Like, she is not bound, like, I don't think she is bound to literally what happened in time. So she could just go, and this doesn't happen. And that, that is important, because in the Beekeeper episode, we brought up the fact of, like, the Beekeeper is just not there. Like, he's not coming back up. Mm-hmm. Whereas if she just reversed time, then he would just, come back up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you there. Like, she can rewind. I'm going to just stay with it as, like, saying she can rewind time, because I think that's easier to say. But it is, she can rewind time in a way that is manipulating reality at the same time.
Yeah, fully agree with that.
Like, it has the appearance of rewinding time, so that's what I'm going to say, even if I know that's not exactly what it is.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be too nitpicky about this. I understand what you're trying to say.
Yeah. But I do think it is necessary to have that clarification.
Because yeah, like, it's a very similar argument to the, like, is she rewriting reality? Is it magic? Are those different things? Does it really matter? Because, like, I'm so curious as to what they're gonna do if Agnes is in fact just a straight up witch. Because I could see it being a, like, well, she has magic, but also, being able to alter reality is just better, and so she needs Wanda as, like, an ingredient for something, or she's, like, stealing her powers or something like that.
Yeah. I still don't know if she's evil or not, but if she's not, then we don't really have a clear villain for the series.
I mean, there's the possibility that the villain is Wanda.
That's true. I mean, that's very much so true. But
yeah, I don't think they'll do that, but that is very much a possibility. And, like, this episode was very happy with, being able to cast her as being terrifying.
Absolutely, yeah. She is so good at like this whole role.
Yeah, we saw that very, like, in Age of Ultron, they shot her with a lot of horror tropes, and they were trying to do a horror thing with her.
And that was way different.
Yeah, it was very much like, we're just going to do stuff that, a scary girl will do in horror movies. It isn't this existential horror. It is just she's doing the trope, or, she's doing the big skedaddle backwards.
Yeah, it's very much like the like Exorcist sort of stuff, where it's like she is this creepy, scary, like keywords there, creepy and girl, whereas now she is like a terrifying, fully grown, mature woman who has these powers and has full control over them, and like, oh, it's terrifying.
It really is.
Also, absolutely insane that their swords, like, who's behind this was the Skrulls. I'm just looking at their noteboard, like their whiteboard, and their only guess for who is behind this is the Skrulls.
So, I mean, you know what? Let me immediately say then, I imagine that they're not working with the Skrulls.
No, I imagine they are not.
Nick Fury with the Skrulls, probably separate from Sword.
I can't believe that's their guess. How would that even work?
Why? How? Oh, boy.
But actually, continuing about Wanda's powers, the fact that, so she can create, like, she created the bees and everything, and then assumingly she created the twins.
Yeah.
So, like, she can just assumingly create life itself and sentience and all that.
Yeah.
Which is crazy, but, like, how true is that? Like, is that all real? Because, like,
I mean,
to be fair,
like,
Thanos could do something similar with the Reality Stone.
Yeah.
Like, where he made it appear like it was a sentient life. I
mean, the big one is she made Vision, presumably.
Again, but is that just a vision of Vision? Like, it... Again, we've seen Thanos use the stone before to create stuff that, for all intents and purposes, seems real, but it can't be real. It is just an illusion.
I mean, that raises a big question. Like, we had the like the Collector, for instance, and he did seem to act like the Collector, and then when he disappears in Infinity War, like, even as he is disappearing, he still seems to have, like, a personality.
Yeah. And it's like, did he create a real sentient Collector right there? Or was that just an illusion that went on like a, like a program, or was like programmed to be like that, essentially?
It's hard to tell the difference, because, like, we've seen Vision completely separate from Wanda, doing stuff by himself, interacting with people by himself, like, questioning stuff a little bit. Like, is that a whisper in the back of her mind, just kind of like making that happen, or is that sentience?
It's truly hard to say. And then it's like, well, damn, could she bring people back from the dead? Could she, or just create a whole new one? But then is that the same person if she just creates a whole new one?
I think that's going to be the big question with Vision. Like, Vision was fundamentally, a very unique being. And we went through, like, in Infinity War, it was the big, like, what parts of him are him? Can you remove the Mind Stone and still have him be him? And now we have the big, like, we don't know what happens to the body. We know what happens to the stone. So, like, if you have the body without the stone, and you, like, put it all back together, is that Vision? Or, like, what is this what is the Vision in her worlds? Like, if she can rewrite reality, can she just take, Vision, like the being that was Vision at one point in time, and tell reality, hey, give me that. Put that right here.
Yeah, like, for all intents and purposes, you should be able to. You'd think.
Yeah.
But also, like, I just realized also, what do you do with Vision's body? Like, do the Avengers just have his body in, like, a room, and then they just have to assumingly have that on, like, lockdown, and, I assume the, like, U.S. government and things like that are going to be constantly trying to break into Avengers headquarters to get his fucking body, because it's all adamantium.
Yeah, or vibranium.
Or vibranium, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, because also, like, that is so much vibranium. That has to be, like, $1 trillion worth of vibranium. It's so
more.
much more. Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, there's not that much of it, so. I mean, there's a lot more of it now, but... But, yeah, like, I fully believe that the U.S. government is going to be trying to get that body by all means possible. And they're just going to be sending in, like, secret people who are, quote-unquote, not working with the U.S. government, but like, definitely are. Like, and villains as well. I'm sure plenty of villains are. But, I mean, like, villains less likely because you would have to have a whole, like, how are you going to process this? And how are you going to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I mean, even Wakanda, potentially. Like, that is their vibranium that was stolen by Claw and then was taken by Ultron. Like, if anyone has a right to that vibranium, it's going to be them. Though, like,
I don't feel like they would be like, we want that body back, though. I feel like they're be like, you know what, we respect this.
Yeah. I'd say if anything, like, Shuri might just want to say, like, hey, can I turn it back on?
No, absolutely not. But yeah, I just thought about that now. Just like, yeah, I didn't think about how grave robbie they could be with Vision.
Yeah. Like, the main thing protecting Vision when he was alive was just the fact that, he can go intangible and you can't do anything to him.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, also just the fact that he's Vision and he's gonna fucking kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now, it's hard to say. But yeah, what is this Vision inside this sitcom? I do love that we have it phrased also as like, what's going on? Is this another reality? Is this a time thing? Is this what? It's a sitcom. It's a 1950s sitcom. I don't know what to tell you. That's literally what it is.
It's so... I'm still, like, I've said this so many times, I still cannot believe this is in the MCU. Because it is so extremely comic-y. Mm-hmm. It is the most, like, this is just what it is, and we have to live with that and deal with that on its own terms. We cannot boil it down to, like, I keep on remembering the moment when who was it from S.H.I.E.L.D.? Like, someone, when they were talking about Wanda and Pietro, just said, like, oh yeah, she has the power to take her mental impulses and turn them into energy. Like, what does that
Maria
mean?
Hill. But yeah,
that is it's the most, like, how is this any more viable than she can rewrite reality? It's just as difficult, you just don't want to say the thing.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's just being ashamed of everything they do.
Mm-hmm.
Versus finally in something that is like, listen, people are going to watch this or they're not going to watch it. People are going to understand who these characters are or they're not going to understand it. Like, and I think it really helps, like, you can watch all this and fully believe, yeah, Monica Rambeau, just a wholly original character. Jimmy Woo, wholly original character. Mm-hmm. Darcy, wholly original character. You don't have to be like, oh, these are references, but I don't understand this reference. It's not even done like that. It's just done like, here's a character.
Yeah. Like, the fact that they're all consistent with the way we saw them before fills me with this big love. Mm-hmm. Like, they clearly care about these characters in the MCU, and they care enough about the story they're telling to also make sure that it's not, being cut off by, the necessity of, like, knowing this or knowing that.
Yeah. And I do love that they're also from all over the fucking place. Like, we have characters from Thor, Ant-Man, and Captain Marvel. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's something I would have never expected, because the MCU is always like, if we're gonna have another character in here, they better be extremely relevant to, like, the character that we're doing.
Yeah.
As opposed to relevant to the situation.
And I can't believe how much I am so willing to buy this whole situation under the auspice of them just saying, yeah, S.W.O.R.D. doesn't know what's happening, so they just got a bunch of experts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it does make sense. I totally buy it.
Yeah. I mean, Jimmy's just kind of here from hangover from his own case. Like, he doesn't have any real reason to be here. He's just kind of also here.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that helps a lot. Like, Jimmy is a character that I really couldn't have given a fuck about in Ant-Man. Like, he appeared and you're like, oh, Jimmy. And I'm like, yeah, it's Jimmy. But after this episode, I was like, okay, I like Jimmy now. You know, in Ant-Man, he was very, like, just... I don't know, reserved. Like, you know, he wasn't that funny and he wasn't that, like, interesting. He was just kind of a middle road of like, he is a comic relief character in a movie that is mostly comedy. So he didn't, you know, he wasn't that comic relief.
Yeah.
Versus in this, I feel like he is a lot more so of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just so happy seeing Darcy again.
I literally just caught. Oh my god. When we first see Jimmy, he makes his his business card appear from behind his hand, like he's doing the close-up magic he was trying to do in Ant-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
God, I love it. I did such a good episode. I'm so happy. I cannot express how happy I am.
Also, the state trooper car, the sheriff's, it has 1966 on it. I wonder if that's like a date that's relevant to one of these characters' first debuts.
Maybe, yeah.
Jimmy's very old. He was in like the 50s. He was even before the Silver Age, I believe, right?
Yeah,
so
Jimmy's a Golden Age character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, could be one of the others.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of characters debuted in 1966.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's peak Silver Age.
Yeah, I mean, I have been reading through the Silver Age comics from the very beginning of the Silver Age, but I'm not up to 1966 yet. I'm like in 1964, so I don't even fucking know.
Perhaps you'll see.
Can't be. Wanda was introduced earlier than that, so it's not her.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it can't be Maria.
I don't think it would be Maria. Well, I guess it wouldn't be Monica. Or Monica. Like, definitely wouldn't be her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it might just be the date for the car. I was just thinking, like, it's 1966 is, like, right near the start of the Silver Age that I was thinking. I wonder if that's a reference to something like that.
Near that scene, of course, we have the big shot of the Westview sign. Home, it's where you make it. And... I mean, home is where you make it, and the population is 3,892. And that is so many people if all of those people are in this thing.
But, yeah, and very, very little of them are appearing on the show.
Yeah. Like, that's a big, like... I can't imagine what the fallout from this is going to be. Like, if Wanda's a good guy, quote-unquote, at the end of this, and she has to deal with the fact that she brainwashed, like, nearly 4,000 people to do a sitcom so she could get over Vision being dead. Or alternatively, if she is just a villain, then we're like, yeah, she has a, 3,892 victims. Both of those are equally possible.
I'd be totally fine with doing alright, Wanda's a big villain now, and we gotta defeat her. Like, she is so unbelievably powerful that would make me so hyped. Versus, like, a lot of the villains in the MCU are just like, who? Okay, guess we're doing this.
Yeah, because one of my big complaints about the MCU is also just that we never linger with the villains. So many of the villains die as soon as we get them, and like, I'm not 100% against that, but for a universe, it's so unlike any other adaptation of anything Marvel, where it's like, yeah, that person existed for a week and then they died, and now we don't need to think about them. Like, if Wanda is a hero or a villain at the end of this is going to just add so much to her character. And if she's a hero, I'm going to be rooting for her. If I'm a villain, I'm going to probably still be very sympathetic towards her.
Yeah, and it's also would be nice to have a villain that the world gives a shit about. Because the vast majority of the villains are, like, they do, like, as a normal human being, your reaction is like, wait, who did what? Oh, they're defeated already? Oh, okay, I don't care. Like, it's happened so fast that it's like, yeah, nobody's really gonna give a shit. Who cares about Ultron other than like Sokovia? You know, like Sokovia, it's a big deal, but everywhere else, it was the thing that happened and then was immediately dealt with, and it's like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
like that's why the blame shifts immediately to the Avengers, because it's like, well, I mean, there's nobody else to blame for this. Everybody's gonna be mad, but they don't have anybody to be mad at.
The Avengers
like,
are telling us
alien.
that, yeah, like there's so much stuff that they just have to go off of the Avengers' word or off no one's word if, it's just never said as a thing.
Yeah. Like, I cannot imagine just, like, waking up one day and being like, yeah, did you hear that the Dark Elves, the aliens that were around from the beginning of the universe, invaded and were immediately defeated by Thor yesterday? And I'm like, what? Can you go to that again? Excuse me? Like, there's just so much that just so quickly happens that is immediately dealt with. We don't have villains that stick around or get big build-up.
Yeah. Like, even Thanos has, like, 2 points of interaction with the Earth ever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody knows who the fuck Thanos is. Why would any random person on Earth know who Thanos is other than the Avengers saying, by the way, we beat a guy named Thanos?
Yeah, there's no footage, there's no video, there's no one's going to be talking about this except for the Avengers.
Everybody's just gonna draw a, like, purple Peter Griffin, because they're just gonna hear he was a big dude with a ball on his chin, with a ball sack on his chin. And they're just like, I guess he's purple Peter Griffin?
It's a real, like, nebulous this horrible thing happened, and there's a guy that I think did this, but we don't know anything about him.
But yeah, so I would love for Wanda to be a villain. I don't know if they're going to do that, but I do think, we need more villains in the MCU who are built up. And again, the TV shows could help a lot with that. Like, maybe not this one, but other ones could, be building up the villain over multiple episodes, which is, better than, introducing the villain in the movie and then immediately defeating them in that movie.
Yeah, it's something that I'm perfectly fine with for most, like, non-MCU superhero movies, because, that's just the structure of a movie. You can't do a lot more than that if it's not a universe. But it's so wild that the MCU is a universe, and they still do that 90% of the time.
Like, yeah, I would say, what villains am I, like, still very into in the MCU? Because, again, most of them get defeated immediately, so it's hard to be like, oh, I still like that guy. Like, still, like, I liked them in that movie, but do I still like them? I mean, they're not around anymore, so it's hard to, say that.
Yeah,
but, like the Mandarin, it's, like, the only one that I can think of off the top of my head, that's been built up and is still like, ooh, I can't wait to see the Mandarin.
Yeah. Like, if I were talking one-on-one with Kevin Feige, and he was like, hey, what are you excited for? I would probably just bring up characters from the comics that haven't debuted yet, because it's like, well, yeah, you can do those people, but you can't do Malekith again, he's dead. You can't do the Red... I mean, you could probably do the Red Skull, but he's been in space for, like, 1,000 years.
I see, I would be very interested if we did do a Red Skull again. Because it's not like Red Skull is, like... like, he's just stuck there. It's not like he's got, like, some magic curse on him or something. He fucking space stoned himself there and was like, well, now I can't get off this rock. But I'm very surprised that he didn't, when everybody else kept going there, they didn't go like, hey, can I come with you? Can I leave? Or I'm gonna steal your spaceship. But, I mean, he's changed so much. Like, he's been there for so long that...
Yeah, he might not be racist anymore. Maybe he thought about it real hard.
You know what? Now that I think about it, being racist is bad.
Because he is there as, like, the guardian of the Soul Stone, in a sense. But every time we have seen him, it has been when someone goes there to take the Soul Stone. And then he's like, well, I'm still here.
And, I mean, it's not a thing. He just says, I'm the guardian of the Soul Stone. There's no, like, universal thing that's making that the case. He's just like, it's a classic, he refuses to think that he fucked up in any way. He's like, well, I didn't fuck up by using the Tesseract. The Tesseract wanted me to be here. It's not my fuck up.
Yeah, but he spent 100 years and he's still... God damn, I hate the Red Skull.
But I would love to see him come back in some way. That would be dope. Like, getting this 100-year-old Red Skull.
Yeah, that's a fundamental, like... I just want a character study.
Also, he'd come back and Captain America wouldn't be around anymore. Like, the Cap that he knows.
Yeah.
So that would be really interesting as well. But yeah, I'm not sure if he could come back in a serious way though, because he would also be coming back weak as shit.
Like, has he been aging?
I mean, he has to have been. Like, Captain America also ages. Captain America could live for hundreds of years, too, assumingly.
Yeah.
But he would get very old like he looks now.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I'm sure Cap could still, you know, throw down, but it's not going to be like the old days.
Yeah.
Same with Red Skull. Like, I'm sure he could still, you know, do some crazy shit, but it's not going to be as impressive as anything else. Like, anything that he used to.
Yeah.
Do.
Yeah, and he's coming into a world with, like, no Hydra. Like, everyone, any remnants of Hydra are underground or retired.
Mm-hmm. I doubt he would come back for Hydra, though. Like, if he comes back, it would probably be in a very solo way.
Mm.
But we're not even talking about WandaVision anymore.
I mean,
so.
I do. I will say this is something we so rarely ever do with any of the like Netflix series or any of the movies. Like, we have to at the very end of like Infinity War and Endgame say, well, what do you think is gonna happen to the universe? Whereas like WandaVision is so just like plugged in that we were just going off because it all feels like it's somewhat relevant because it's all the universe.
Yeah, it's opening me up to so many new possibilities. Like, oh, stuff I didn't think the MCU would ever do before, like be a universe, might be possible now.
Yeah, seriously.
But again, I'm glad we're getting into Phase 4 now, because like it's something I've talked about off camera for a while, of just like Phase 1 through 3 is like is a universe gonna work sort of thing. Like, it's wild that like everybody else is doing the like, oh, the MCU's taken off really well, we need to do our own universe of X, Y, or Z thing, and then they rush into it so fast, and then nobody likes it because you're just kind of like rushing into it and giving spin-offs to shit that is so boring and nobody gives a fuck about and stuff. So much stuff like that. But the MCU is the opposite, of which they are so like just pussyfooting around, so chicken shit to do anything, that it's taken them 3 whole phases and like 20-something movies to get to a point where they're comfortable doing stuff that like other universes have been doing off the bat, which hasn't been good because it's off the bat, but it's also like, did I want to wait 27 fucking movies? I don't even know how many movies it is up until this point, and it's like, I don't know what's worse, but I'm glad that we're getting it now, you know?
Yeah, same.
Because like now we are at the point in the MCU where any random spin-off of any fucking character, I'm totally down to watch. Versus like, if at the very beginning, you know, they did like even if they did like we introduced Wanda and then immediately next we're gonna do a WandaVision thing, wouldn't be as interesting. You need to have it be around for a while first.
Yeah.
But at the same time, then that makes it like, well, now we gotta just wait through 3 phases before we get to the good shit.
Yeah. But I mean, I also appreciate how different it's made everything. Like, same with all of the, rights stuff and whatnot. Like, the MCU is so unlike, like, if you want a normal, Marvel universe, like, any of the cartoons do that. Any of the cartoons are just like, and we're gonna just throw you into MODOK, we're gonna throw you into the Red Skull, whatever. But, like, the MCU has this long, twisty, weird history with all these things that are so very different because they had to be, or because they were too chicken shits.
Also, like, with a lot of like, we don't want to do the thing, so we're gonna do something around the thing. Whether it be like, we're gonna do this character, but it's gonna be unrecognizable as that character.
You just have to squint and look at a single tiny tattoo they have and go like, oh, I guess it's that guy. maybe in 10 years he'll do something.
Yeah. So, like, we've gone a long way from being like well, we might get that character, but they're gonna be, an leader, Mr. Blue from Incredible Hulk. Like, just like, the character you're gonna get might not be anything close to the character you want, but now we're at a stage where I'm like, we're gonna get, it might not be exactly what you want. It's not gonna be the comic version, but it's gonna be closer than it used to be in the MCU.
Yeah. It's giving me a lot of faith I didn't think I still had.
I mean, just the fact that they're bringing in people like Jimmy and Darcy into this, like, there's fully no reason why they needed to. I don't think not having them here would have changed the plot in any way. Like, you could have just had 2 other characters here, and it would have been completely fine. But the fact that they are here really elevates it so much higher.
Yeah.
Alright, I think we're done with the episode. Let me ask you, if you were a part of S.W.O.R.D., how would you protect Earth from aliens?
Oh, boy.
Now, see, I think I would be working with Selvig because I would try and create a portal that you could open up, and then the outside of you go in one side, and the way you come out is just on the other end of the Earth.
Oh.
Like, just add our atmosphere, not have it be a permanent thing, but add our atmosphere, have a little thing where you can quickly turn on a portal that where if you go through it, it's just, you just pass right by Earth.
Oh, that's really, really clever.
But again, I'm not sure how you could do that. Like, that's just me saying, yeah, just create a portal that does this, but we don't have anything that backs that up in the universe yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the only time that worked was during the convergence, but still, it's worked once, so it might be able to make it work again.
Yeah, like, the Bifrost is around. Like, not the machine, but, like, the literal connection between all the realms. Like, that's just a thing that exists.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not sure if I would want to throw aliens into the Bifrost, but that might make Asgard fucking hate our guts, but...
I mean, just shoot it to Svartalfheim. No one's doing anything there.
I mean, I guess you could just shoot them through the Bifrost, like if they just go into it and immediately out of it, because doing that does seem to just throw you anywhere in the universe.
Yeah. But I mean, the main problem with that is, what if they're not wanted? Because if they're not wanted, then they'll go to Sakaar, and then the Sakaarans are going to be pissed off at us.
Fuck them. Who gives a shit about Sakaar? I mean, that whole planet is that. Like, wouldn't they be happy? Wouldn't they be like, yeah, another one of us, the people who are just, like, randomly thrown here? That's their whole society.
I wouldn't want to give them too many evil people. I feel like the society only it should only work if it's random.
Well, hey, we're not just throwing evil people, we're just throwing anybody that tries to come to Earth.
Oh, no. I'm not sure if I'm okay with the giant anti-refugee wall.
Yeah, this plan might be bad.
What I would do is I would get into contact with Spider-Man, and I would ask him to... I would ask for, I would ask him, please, 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 can you lend us the drones that you have? And what I want to do is what Stark can do with their planes and whatnot, where they have, like, the cloaking stuff.
Right.
I would set up the drones so that they can, like, cloak the Earth. And so, like,
I don't think we have nearly that many drones.
I mean, he seems like he has a lot of drones, and
right,
I'm sure
but
he
to
could
cover the whole Earth. I mean, yeah, it would cost an insane amount of money to do the literal, armor around Earth.
Yeah, and what I want isn't even armor necessarily. It is just hide the Earth a little, and then if something comes through, we know where it's coming through.
Yeah.
Then we can, tell people to run away.
That does work, but then if that's up all the time, like, are you just wanting that to be up all the time? Because that's going to block the sun and stuff.
Oh, you're right. Maybe we can make it transparent.
Yeah, because I think a big portion is also having to know when aliens are getting close to us. Like in the 90s, we had no idea that the Skrulls were right there with a giant fucking ship. Like, how did we not know that? Maybe put a satellite up there, just a satellite.
Yeah, we should have scanning technology to at least tell what's vaguely happening.
Because, our problem isn't that people are sneaking up on us. Our problem is that we can't tell when there's a giant fucking ship the size of Earth up there.
Yeah, there was no real response to, the Black Order, Thanos' people, coming down to New York. It was just immediate, okay, oh god, this is happening, we're all scared, we don't know what's happening.
Everybody shit yourself and cry, that's all we can do.
When the snap was happening, Nick was just sort of in the middle of New York going, I don't know what's happening.
Oh,
so, yeah.
God.
We don't need shield or sword. What we need is spyglass.
Yeah.
We need people who are just looking up.
I think I would just create one really big laser just one super big strong laser, and it's just like, yeah, if we see a ship and it's gonna like, once it starts attacking us, just laser it. And like, is it gonna work? Maybe not. Like, it's impossible if you're creating a weapon. It's impossible to really know if it's gonna work. I mean, even if we're creating defenses, it's hard to know if it's gonna work. Like, I think that's why a portal thing or like your cloaking thing makes more sense, because it's like just trying to avoid the problem altogether, rather than if you face a problem, you don't know how advanced an alien technology is going to be. So like, is my laser thing gonna work? I don't know, but it'll work more than like a big sword, I assume.
Yeah. The other thing I could think of is we know that Doctor Strange's people have like 3 shields that they're putting up that protect the entire Earth from like, extraversal threats. Yeah. I wonder if we could just like work with him and like give him some funding and stuff, and see if we can make that shield work for physical things as well.
Or also, I mean, why don't we just work with Doctor Strange? Say, hey, Doctor Strange, you look at space. Just you, how about all Comertage looks at space instead of this thing that has never been a problem? We've never had any problems with this thing. The one time we did have a problem with it, you guys didn't fucking stop it. Like, the one time Dormammu came over here, you having this barrier up didn't fucking help. So how about ixnay on that shit, focus on aliens, and don't worry about a big, shield thing for the... I mean, maybe you can focus on keeping the big shields up, but then if something breaks through that, you can just portal that fucker anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Like, Doctor Strange could just portal it. He could do my idea. And fuck the just, like, portal at the top of Earth, portal at the bottom of Earth, or, like, on all sides or whatever. Just straight up portal them somewhere else. Anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Portal them into the sun. Because does Doctor Strange have to know where the other portal is? Like, let me put it this. Does he have to have been there? Does he have to have seen it?
I don't believe he has to have seen it.
Because then, just straight up, portal him into the fucking sun.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure we can, like, have a
portal
man
him to Titan.
Oh, yeah.
We can still fuck with Titan anymore. Just portal him on there.
I'm sure we can find some sort of, budgets in order to pay Doctor Strange so he can, like, just check out the galaxy and find some places where he can get rid of evil ships. Yeah. Some black holes and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, black hole will be good too. But yeah, I think there is reason to have a sword group, but I don't think you need a whole... I think it just needs to be a project. I don't think it needs to be a whole organization and everything, because you just need to, like, come up with the thing. And then, like, if that doesn't work, come up with a different thing. But coming up with, like, 18 different ways to protect us from aliens, I don't think is necessary.
Yeah.
Because that's just going to be 18 failures. Like, you don't want to keep coming up with and funding more of this shit when you don't even know if it works yet.
Yeah, we need 1 or 2 really good things that we can just sort of bank on.
Mm-hmm. Because, yeah, put all the funding into one really good thing rather than 18 half shitty things that aren't going to work.
Mm-hmm. Fully agree.
Though with Tony's, like, magic technology that he has, in Endgame, where you can just spray and it does technology.
Yeah.
I'm sure whatever the fuck that is, I mean, it's got to be nanobots in some way, but however the fuck that works, I wonder if we could do it, suit of armor around the world. Like, not a permanent one, but a, like, something's about to happen, release the nanobots, and they all just go up into the atmosphere and cling to each other and create a barrier.
Yeah. Like, I've always assumed that when he meant suit of armor around the world, he did mean it as a, not a permanent thing, but just, a line of defense.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think so too. I wonder, do you think, how common is portal technology? Did Thanos have portals? I'm pretty sure a lot of aliens could get just straight up through that, though.
We know that the main thing aliens use that isn't portals is, what is that called again? Like the hyperspace jumps.
Yeah, like,
and those are all
space drive or whatever.
Yeah, and those are all, like, static. Like, you can't make new ones, it seems like. It's just, like, whatever one is there is the one you can jump to. And then if there's a planet near there, you have to, like, manually go the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And Yeah, and like we haven't seen anyone else really use portals. Like the big ones have been, like Doctor Strange and Thanos when he had the Space Stone.
Do you think every planet has Loki holes?
I mean, any planet Loki knows about.
Actually, wait. We kind of do. I mean, I guess no, because they were during the convergence. But I was thinking like Earth did have basically Loki holes during the convergence. Okay, this has been an insanely long discussion.
Yeah, I think we gotta stop. We can go on forever.
No, were you about to say something? Go ahead. Let's make this longer.
Oh no! We gotta stop. We gotta stop.
No, go ahead.
Okay, final thing from me. Was just in hindsight, like I wonder if we could like use the time stone and go back and talk to the dark elves, because it seems like they were from the start of existence and they presumably have a lot of information that we don't have and will never have again.
That. Listen, what information do they have? They were around before the universe was created, and the universe was created, and they got pissed off and went to sleep. I'm not sure if they can help us with much.
I mean, they could tell us whether WandaVision was there at the start.
Like whether the Big Bang happened was.
Yeah, like we know the transmission of WandaVision is encoded within background radiation from the Big Bang. So, like, if you were there at the start of the universe, did all of WandaVision play really, really, really fast?
I think it's just the stones.
It might just be the stones.
I don't think WandaVision has been going on since the beginning of the universe. It was the Dark Elves and a 1950s sitcom.
They watched the sitcom and they were like, oh crap, there's nothing else. And it's too bright. I guess we'll go to sleep.
Time for sleep.
Do you have anything else?
No, I have nothing else. Alright, we gotta end it here. We'll see you guys for the next one. Until then, thank you for sticking around for this nearly 2-hour long fucking reaction and discussion.
Oh, this is gonna be terrifying in the playlist.
Right. I mean, this is what good MCU does to you, baby.
It does.
We'll see you guys for the next one. Until then, get the fuck out of here.